with Teddy Gutkin from the Michigan Daily.
Hey, Franz, can you just talk about your first half today and how you were able to get to the line 7 times, your aggressiveness?
Yeah, aggressiveness, I think, is the key word. Just trying to make the right play, seeing a couple lanes that were open, so trying to drive it, got a steal, so all those little things. You're not trying to get a steal, but if you do your job, those things are going to happen. And happy that I got to the line early.
And what would you say about your confidence level on the offensive end at this point in the season, heading into the Big Ten and NCAA tournaments?
Very confident. I think that's how our offense works, that everybody has to be confident to shoot and make a right play. And that's how we play.
Hey, Franz, if you could turn it so you can both do it at the same time and just try to knock it out together. Next up for you guys is Nick Mantis from WLNS. And if you could just shout out which player you want to talk to.
Okay. Well, how about for both of you guys then, since we're doing this one together? When it came to the first half and then going, kind of a closer game in the second half, you kind of pulled it away. Coach was saying that there were some teaching moments that he was able to bestow upon you, but you were also able to tell him what it was like out there. We'll start with Franz and then we'll go with Isaiah. What was it in the first half that you were telling him you were seeing out there, and what kind of communication at halftime helped you change and turn things around the second half?
I think at the halftime we talked about moving it a little bit more. I think we had a couple possessions where we overdrove it a little bit. Kind of when it took away our first and second option, we kind of didn't know what to do. So I think we definitely did a better job with that after halftime. And it's just making the right play. I think we had a couple turnovers that normally we don't have. So yeah, those little things I think matter a lot.
Yeah, kind of like what he said. Take care of the ball was obviously the main priority. Obviously, second, a lot of guys passed up some open shots that we don't normally do. Me personally, but came back on the second half and just got back to Michigan basketball. We were shooting our shots, running our offense. Guys were swinging the ball, and it was back to that culture. How we play for one another, and it was Franz had the hot hand tonight. Other guys like Shondi didn't have the hot hand, but he still played defense, and we still were talking. I think that's what's most important about our team. So that was the adjustment he made us second half, was just trust. It's one of our core values: trust one another.
One quick follow-up when it comes to kind of that culture and speaking about that and knowing when you see a guy like Franz, have a hot hand for you personally or for the entire team, is there kind of a communication during a timeout about like, oh, this guy's on fire, like we need to get him the ball more? Or how does that flow during the game and you start realizing that?
Oh, yeah. I think it happened when sometime in the second half, he was asking us, because Coach Howard, he's transparent. He asked us what play, 3 Bonnie, 3 99 open. Personally, I said Bonnie. Let's get Franz downhill. They're obviously not stopping him. He can get to the basket with ease, get a free throw, or create a shot for someone else. But I think they denied it or anything. But other than that, that just shows what kind of trust Coach has in us of calling our plays. Obviously, for a hot guy who's just had a hot first half. But other than that, it's just about going back to trust one another.
Next up is Orion Sang from the Detroit Free Press.
Franz, you've had 3 20-point games in the past 4 games. Do you feel like you're playing your best offensive basketball this season right now?
Yeah. I'm staying aggressive. Just trying to not overdo. I think that's what I did to start the season. But finding that balance of when to be aggressive, when to make a play for someone else. And I think it's a lot of fun playing with the team. Nobody really cares about who scores the points. I think you can see the results that happen when you play like that.
Did the layoff kind of help you self-evaluate, how you were playing, what you needed to improve on?
Yeah, but I knew that before too. The layoff for me, it was more mentally being able to kind of lock out a little bit of the normal practices and games and all of that. But then it's really hard to get back in shape and stuff like that. So that was definitely a challenge. But as a team, I think we handled the lockdown really, really well.
Next up is Zach Shaw from the Michigan Insider.
Isaiah, as a captain, what impressed you the most about being able to play with this kind of energy and have this quick turnaround and be this prepared and everything. And Juwan was mentioning he thinks sometimes you guys are almost professional, like in how you take care of your bodies, how you rest, recover, and everything like that. I guess how does that manifest, or how does that become a thing that you guys are really good at?
Yeah, being the leader, I kind of just tell the guys, this is what you're gonna see in the tournament. You have a day between, and you got to play that final game in that location, and you move on to the next location. Well, that's just like normalcy without COVID. But other than that, it's like that. We got to now focus on our recovery. Guys still got to get their homework done, focus on their scouting film. It's kind of less physical, hands-on stuff. Coach Ozzie talked about earlier how we're rolling into an NBA schedule, so we have to be professionals. And I feel like that still rings a bell in all our heads. And we went out there and we took care of business today. Tomorrow we got to recover, get off our feet. Like I said, get back to our studies and then prepare for our matchup Tuesday at home against Illinois. So other than that, let's just try to stay in people's ears, especially the young guys.
Next up is Andrew Kahn from M Live.
This is for Isaiah, just sort of a bigger picture question on your career, your growth over your 4 years, becoming two-way player, like Juwan says, and doing things other than shooting. He said there were times where you had to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Can you give an example, like what maybe he means by that?
Yeah, when Coach Howard got here, I wasn't more of the defensive-minded guy. I wasn't the guy in the media that was talking about he's a defensive guy. We can put him on one of the best players. Coach Howard coming in, that was the first thing he told me on the phone. Is he's gonna make me a two-way player by the time I leave here. And the progress with that, you have to literally, like he says, get uncomfortable with the situation. That means when I'm tired and I don't feel like guarding, I can't take the easy way out. I gotta. My brothers are relying on me to get a stop, so I gotta move my feet, talk, keep my hands active, and just play defense. And obviously play a smart without fouling. But other than that, it's just doing all the little things. I'm not used to being a guy who is the defensive guy. I used to let people drive past me, and then I'd block it off the backboard. Now I move my feet a lot better. I got with Sandman, did some ladder stuff, and it was uncomfortable because you just don't, like I said, you're trying to save energy for the offensive end. Like I figured out that I have more energy to use. Like Coach Howard, he discovered it before I even knew it, and he's turning me into a two-way player.
Thanks.
Next up is Brendan Quinn from The Athletic.
Hey guys, if both of you can comment on this, what do you remember from your first impression when you guys got back this summer and you met Mike for the first time and he comes walking in? I imagine he came up to about here on you guys and you asking yourselves whether this guy can play in the Big Ten. What was your first impression?
Franz met him first. I'll let him go.
Yeah, we were roommates in the summer. My first impression, I was just thinking, what a character! Like, such a great guy. Loves to make jokes, loves to laugh, and really easy to just be around. I think in the locker room, very vocal, making jokes and stuff like that. I think that's a big part of our chemistry. Him as a player, him as a character in the locker room, being vocal, just being himself. And during a long season, I think it's very important to sometimes be able to make a couple of jokes and not be so locked in all the time. I think that makes it easier to then focus on the game and stuff. But once practices start, I think you can see how experienced he was and how he really knows what counts in games. And even when teams make a little run, I look at Mike and he's not phased at all, and that helps. I think a lot of younger players too. They see their point guard be super relaxed and be ready for the next play.
Yeah, Mike, I knew he was going to fit in. Like Franz said, his character. We're big on locker room, and he fit perfectly. You could easy to talk with. You could easily criticize and talk to him. He doesn't overreact about anything. Like he said, he's a calm, cool, collected vet. And you can tell he's been through this. Not at the high level, but he's obviously ready to make that step. So like I said about earlier, Coach Howard recruits this guy. Automatically, he already has my trust. He was already family the day he committed to Michigan. So and I even contacted him, asked him, to try to get to know him a little bit more. And he came in, and then when practice started, obviously, you could see the experience difference. He played at his own pace. I remember he brought the ball down. Obviously, in the first practice, we got to play fives, and he made some quick move on me going baseline. I was just like, dang. And then he slowed. So if I jumped, I would have got a foul. But he jumped to my body, ball away. I was like, dang, like he could play in the Big Ten because a lot of bigs are going to go and try to go for that foul. And he's a great free throw shooter. So that's when I knew he had a poised head and a poise to his game, man. Yeah, Mike Smith is a character, like Franz said.
Great. Thanks, both.
Next up is Ethan Sears from umhoops.com.
Yeah, Franz. Someone mentioned last week how you kind of worked on not being quite so hard on yourself compared to last year. I'm just maybe wondering about that and kind of the mental side of things and how that's played into how you've been playing lately.
Yeah, I think it's more in games. I think after games and after practices, I think it's okay to be disappointed in like how you played and stuff. But I think last year I did a poor job with my emotions in the game, and I think that affects not just me, but obviously my teammates too, and the other team too when they see an opponent and is frustrated and stuff like that. So I tried to work on that. Hopefully, it's a little better this year, but that's something I'm definitely continue to have in the back of my head, because emotions is a big part of the game, and the game is probably like 80% mental. So that's definitely something that I thought of in the off season and talked to Coach Martelli about, and yeah, for sure.
Next up is Jared Greenspan from the Michigan Daily.
This question's for Isaiah. You got matched up a few times on Trace Jackson Davis. Hunter was on him as well. What were you guys able to do to sort of slow him down and limit him on the offensive end?
The only way to slow someone that powerful, quick down in the block, especially by yourself, is make him go to his other hand. Obviously, he can go both ways, but he's better going left. And we stayed true to our scouting report. We wanted him to take tough shots over his right shoulder, and over his left shoulder. I'm sorry. So you have to use his right hand. But no, he's a good player. Had a bad night, matched up against Hunter and Austin. We call him I forgot what we call him.
Two-headed monster.
Two-headed monster. Coach Howard came in and called them two-headed monsters. So going against Big Austin and Hunter down there on the block is not easy, and they did a great job on him tonight.
We got time for a couple more. James Hawkins with the Detroit News.
Yeah, I got a couple questions for you guys. First off, this is for Isaiah. I'm not sure if you're aware, but this was your 100th career win at Michigan. Just want to know what that milestone means to you, and if that was something that was ever on your radar when you first came to Michigan.
No, I didn't even think about that. Like, especially coming to Michigan and just being at the college level, everything was thrown at me at once. But I'm here now and I'm embracing it. I want to obviously continue that streak as long as possible. Other than that, I'm just blessed. I couldn't have done it with all the past coaches, current coaches, past teammates, current teammates, and obviously family support. And I just credit them because they push me every day and to be where I am, especially me, Eli, and Austin. We've been in the trenches for a while. And, we work really hard for it.
And my second question is for both you guys. Going up against elite big men in the Big Ten like Luka and today with Trace, you guys have limited a lot of these guys to some of their worst offensive performances. I guess, could you speak to the job the post defense has done against some of these other elite big men in the Big Ten?
Yeah, it was definitely a point of emphasis in our practices leading up to the games. I think once our big men really stop or make them take tough shots inside, it makes it so much easier for the perimeter players because you don't have to help as much. Then you're not forced to close out really hard. So that definitely helps the whole defense, especially when the post guys are premier players like Trace Jackson Davis or Garza.
Yeah, probably the first time Coach Howard got his hands on Hunter, and obviously Austin last year, and then Jaron and Brandon and me, obviously, and then Franz when we're down there. We have habits, as he talks about, and we stay disciplined as possible. I'm not going to give the secret away, but you can watch the film and figure out what we do, and we just do it to perfection. We got to help out our big guys. So we try to stay in gaps as much as possible. Big Ten is full of perimeter shooting, so we're in and we're out, and it's one-on-one. We practice that almost every day, so big guys like Austin and Hunter are prepared for that.
Last question for you fellas is from Teo Mackey.
Yeah, I have one for Isaiah. It seems like once you guys get up 7 or 8 points this season, other teams haven't been able to come back into games. How important is the energy that you guys have on and off the floor to your ability to prevent those comebacks?
It's very important because you obviously can get up big and say that, I'd say around that 17 to 16 minute mark in the second half, we can get up large lead and guys can relax a little bit. And it's on like guys like me, Franz, and then Austin, Eli, Mike, the whole bench. See how I'm saying everybody's name? Like, it's not up to one person to keep the energy level up. Everybody as a team has to, give. When Coach talks about not being a vampire, like an energy, like Sucker, we got to be energy givers. And I feel like when everybody is not about themselves, this team plays at a high level, national championship level, best team in the country type level. And, you know, I'm excited. I'm blessed to be on a team like this because everybody literally cares for one another. And when a guy is shining and it's not your night, just watch Shawnee Brown the whole game. He didn't put his head down for nobody. He was excited for everybody, even though his shot wasn't going. And that's the type of energy we need on this team. And I'm just, I'm just grateful.
And then if I can follow up on that, you talked a little bit about teaching moments in game earlier. I feel like Juwan does that more than most coaches where he'll pull you guys aside in game for a second. What's the importance of those moments?
Listening. Coach Howard loves eye contact like any other coach, and he loves respect just like any other coach. So when he speaks and he's demonstrating something, it's not just that one player looking. The whole team should be looking because it may relate to you. And he does a great job with it, like you said, especially in the game in big moments. You know, he can pull you aside and give you a reminder because he's played the game. He's seen it all. He's maybe not been on the perimeter like that, but he's still a smart guy. He was a coach for a couple of years in the NBA. So like I said, he's seen it all. He has the knowledge. So he's family anyway, so we trust him.
All right, fellas, we appreciate it. Have a safe
Thank
trip
you.
home.
Chick-fil-A time.